welcome to a very special reaction review video of Ariana Grande's Sweetener Thank You Next tour. So recently I was lucky enough to go and see Ari at the O2 in London, and I posted a blog about that with lots of clips from the show, which I'll put a link for here. But what I wanted to do was give a little rundown of what I thought of the actual show that I saw, and then also have a look at clips from different shows that she's been doing around the world and kind of do a compare and contrast and see what she's done amazingly and what I love about the show in terms of lighting, staging, vocals, all that kind of stuff, and put it all in this video. So let's start by having a look at some of my favourite things from the show that I saw, and then some of my not so favourite things. So one of my visual highlights from the show was during The Light Is Coming, because Ari gets up close into one of her dancers' handheld cameras. You're able to see a lot of her whilst she's walking around the stage, and you can see her a bit more up close. If you're sat further back in the audience, you can actually feel like you're a bit closer to her in that moment. It's also a bit kind of playful and fun, and I really enjoyed that part of the show. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I also love The Light Is Coming. It's one of my favourite songs from her. So for me, I was like, the light is coming to get back up in the darkness still. I don't know, it was just really uplifting. I also really enjoyed God Is a Woman. I couldn't really see the staging properly from where I was sat. I'll give you a bit of a visual on where I was sat so you can understand what I was actually seeing on the stage, but from where I was I couldn't see fully what was going on, but I knew that it was the table with all of her dancers and her doing their really cool choreographed routine that we have seen at different award shows and things. I really love that staging. I just wish I could have seen it a little more clearly, but you'll see what I saw. I'll put that on the screen now as well. If I was up close, if I was standing at the front of the stage, then that would have looked awesome. Visually as well, I also loved the big moon, so that was used a lot during the show. There were a lot of lighting effects and different things that were being projected onto that, and I especially liked it when it moved out into the audience. I felt like it added something to the show that if that hadn't have been there, I think it would have been a lot less full of life. There's something about the movements on that moon that made me feel like I was kind of travelling through space, and it was a really cool way to introduce lights and movement into the show. In terms of the sound itself, the O2 is quite a boomy place, so I actually found that although I could hear Ariana performing, I have heard her a lot more clearly on my recordings that I took post-show. So it's been really interesting to look back and watch the clips that I took, because I've picked up so much more of what she did vocally than when I was actually there in person, which is a little bit of a shame, but you know, I guess that's what happens sometimes when you go to arenas. You kind of learn where to sit from how the sound is. Every seat kind of gives you a different feeling and visual and definitely sound quality. Although where I was sat was actually a pretty decent seat. So I was sat in tier 1, had no one next to me, just cameras that were filming the show. So it was easy to get in, easy to get out, but also didn't really have any obstruction in front of me and could clearly see the stage. So now I'm going to show you guys some of my absolute vocal highlights. My very favourite of everything in the show was Breathing. I think that Ari was just on form in that song. It blew me away. It blew my friends away as well. We just kind of looked at each other thinking, how does that voice come out of there? How? But it does, and we're very lucky to see her high B flat 5 at that show, which I know she doesn't always do, but she did it for us, and it was really pure and really clean and such a fantastic delivery of vocal. And we also heard some intense runs during that song. Some things that just gave me, I'm actually getting goosebumps now just thinking about it, but some just insane runs that just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. They just kept going, and it was unbelievable, and that I was really lucky to hear. It really punched through sound wise in the stadium. Just keep breathing, 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 breathing. Everything was a definite highlight for me. Also, I really enjoyed listening to God Is a Woman, 7 Rings, and Thank You Next, which is the encore. And here are some of those vocal highlights for you guys to listen to as well. So before we move on to comparisons to other shows that Ari has done on this tour, I want to talk about her vocals. The main reason, I guess, that we love Ariana Grande is her incredible vocal, and I just have to tell you guys how amazing her vocal delivery was on the night that I saw her. Her vocals were so pure and clean and clear sounding, but they still punched right through me, and that's a talent. Something that I noticed was that she had absolutely no vocal tension, so she was able to sing effortlessly throughout her range, and of course she has an incredible range, so it was really nice to hear her explore all corners of that with absolutely no vocal tension. So I believe that her voice is in very good health at the moment. She's really looking after it on this tour. I think that as the tour goes on, she's becoming more comfortable in taking more vocal risks as well. So I've been watching a couple of different shows and seeing how different they are, and how she is introducing different vocal licks and runs and just doing different things with her voice in songs, and obviously feeling a bit more comfortable in doing so. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at some different shows. First, let's have a look at her rendition of Breathing in her Amsterdam show. Keep high five! See, these are all these licks I'm talking about. This is where I feel like Ariana's just having fun. Yeah, so she knows her vocal cues, so she knows she has to get to the end point of that song, and she knows when it's coming. And because she's done it so many times, there's a certain amount of bars that she has left in order to fill with her runs and licks. And I think that Ariana has a vague idea of what she wants to do, and then she goes wherever she wants to go within that idea and creates something unique for each show. I really like that. Also that B-flat vibe. Oh my god. Listen to the clearness. Yes, I love that kind of stuff. That descending line is awesome. Also, it's in vocals like that where you can hear how punchy that vocal is, despite being really pure sounding. That's what I was trying to get across earlier, is that it's such a clean vocal, and yet it just hits right through. Love that. That is beautiful. Obviously I'm just doing it in head voice, but when she's belting that stuff out and then flipping into her head voice and coming back down, that takes serious skill. up there. Wish I could go that high. Yeah, I love that. There's just such an ease of access across her range. Just even in these few shows, you can see the insanity of Ariana's voice. It's just incredible. It really is. Okay, so now let's have a look at her Lollapalooza show. See, this is what I'm saying about the vocal tension. My one. There's just this movement, this ease of access between the different parts of her voice, and it speaks so nicely on stage. It feels like you're in a safe surrounding, a safe setting, in a great way. You know, you feel like you know what comes out next is going to be great, so you can just sit back and relax and listen. Yeah, so they're saying she connected 2 runs there. So the run that we're used to is slow, oh, and then she put those 2 together, slow, and it becomes something else. You know, it's these little details. So she dropped the mic there. Yeah. So there was a part during the show that I saw where I literally thought to myself, these vocals are so good. Is this pre-recorded? And then Ari took the mic away from her mouth for a second to do a little dance thing. And I realised, no, why did I even think that? I know that Ariana sings live. It was just so good that it took me out of my body for a sec, if you know what I mean. Wow. She did it! I've got the goosebumps! Wow. I got so many goosebumps that my hair is goosebumped. Like, it's coming out of my head. Just had to pause that for a second. I loved her band. I found it really interesting that there were no backing vocalists on stage, and there was a lot of 2-track backing vocals, so that was something I did notice, but it didn't affect me in any way, because she still had her live band on stage, which to me is a really important aspect of a show. If I go and see someone, I want to see their band as well. I don't know if that's just me or if that's you guys too, but let me know. But the process of songwriting kind of shows you where instrumentation becomes important, and I think that it's cool to then see that put in a live setting. And also it gives it a little bit of a different edge, so you have slightly different arrangements of songs, and there is the option to showcase stuff like that, which is an incredible electric guitar solo. You don't have the opportunity to do that necessarily on a pop song that's hitting the radio, unless that's your kind of target market. Slightly held note there as well. Yes, the fireworks at the end of the show. Oh, again, I got the goosebumps again. I wish you could see them. It's just constant. Okay, next we're going to have a look at just a roundup of Ariana Grande's incredible vocals on this tour. This video is called Ariana Grande Sewing Insane Vocals on the Sweetener World Tour, Return of the B-Flat 5. Sounds like a Star Wars movie or something. So we're going to have a look at some highlights from this particular reel of clips, and again just have a little chat about how amazing she is. Something like that. Lovely head vocal runs. Yeah, you can hear there where she just slightly changed the end of that lick. Chest voice, head voice, chest voice. Hang on, I didn't see how high her shoes were. Holy moly, they are some high heels, and she is running around in those on the staging where you have this huge loop. She goes back and forth constantly, always dancing, always moving. Wow, I would have fallen over. These licks could be something that you have on a synth, on a keyboard, that you couldn't even hope to put into a vocal, but her voice is an instrument and she can do whatever she wants with it. I tell you what's tricky as well. Nice. I'll tell you in a sec. What's tricky is that she's constantly singing in her high range, and to be using that part of your voice so consistently and to retain the rest of your range is something that takes a lot of vocal strength, a lot of vocal stamina. It's difficult to be able to belt out and to sustain a lot of these high notes constantly, night after night, day after day. And then also go back down into your lower range and know that you can rely on all parts of your voice. So whoever her vocal teacher is doing a great job. But also what she's doing in looking after herself, looking after her health, her voice is working. That drum fill was really nice, or drum beat, I don't know why I said fill, was super nice at the end there. Wow. Yeah, I feel kind of almost emotionally drained in a way, in a good way, you know, like I've been on something, I've been taken somewhere. That's the power of an incredible vocalist, that's the power of Ariana Grande's voice. And it is a powerful voice. It's one that fills stadiums, that fills arenas, that fills stages across the world and does it effortlessly. And she is enjoying herself. I love to see a singer that just has so much fun on stage and feels that kind of energy and that vibe with her audience. I know I've seen some criticisms of her shows where they say that she doesn't talk enough to her audience, but I feel like when you're an Ariana Grande fan, you feel like you're being spoken to through the music. So I feel like I've said so much about this tour and about how Ariana's voice is doing, and just, we've seen some amazing clips. I am sure there will be more as the tour keeps going. I'm sure it's just going to get better and better, and I am so thankful that I got to see this tour and to see these songs performed in a live setting, which of course is often so different from listening to something on a record. So, what did you guys think of some of those clips? Let me know. Have you seen the tour? What was your favourite song? Your highlights, your lowlights if there were any. What has been the absolute most favourite part of this tour for you? Let me know in the comments box below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please do hit that subscribe button and become part of the family. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nina_Schofield, and I will see you guys very soon. Love you. Bye.